Hello everyone, welcome to this video. We are the creators of ROI First Analytics, and our mission is to make analytics and analytics services accessible to everyone. This is a continuation of the video where we talked about pivot tables in Excel, where we solved three specific problems that are: how many cars do we have by state, how many of them are Teslas, and how many of them are Tesla Model X. In this video, we're going to try to do the same thing but solve the problem in Google Sheets. To kick things off, let's open up your Chrome browser. If you don't have it, it's an easy download. And then if you have a Google account, great. If you don't, I'd recommend you signing up for it. It's free and easy to use. But once you have your account created, open a Chrome browser. You should see an option that kind of looks like this, which basically shows you all the apps that are available. If you click on that and try to scroll down, you should see an option called Sheets. Just click on that. What it does is it opens up a brand new sheet for you. So click on a blank sheet for this exercise. The first thing that we're going to try to do is import the data that we've downloaded from data.gov. So a quick reminder, the dataset looked something like this, where you had columns like VIN, county, state, make and model of the car, etc. We're going to try to bring this file into Google Sheets. So the way we can do that is go to File, go to Import. You can upload the file by dragging and dropping it in here. So when you hit download on data.gov, that file should have been placed in your downloads folder if you're using Windows or Mac. So just drag and drop that file and put it in here. It takes a couple minutes to upload. So I'm going to pause the video. So it looks like the import is complete, and Google Sheets is basically giving you a couple of options before it finalizes the import. First thing is it's asking you whether you want to replace the spreadsheet. So let's just use the default option for this one. And the second thing it wants to do is detect the separator. We know that it is a CSV file, so it's comma based. So let's see what happens when you ask Google to detect automatically. So it finished processing, and the file looks a lot like what we saw with Excel, which basically has VIN, county. So let's just do a couple quick checks and see if it has 17 columns and 130,000 rows roughly. So let's try to count the number of columns here. So as you can see at the bottom, even with Sheets, it kind of gives you a similar functionality to allow you to count the number of columns. And then for number of rows, you could do the same thing where you can drag and see 130,444 rows. That's great. Oh, great. So the data looks good. We have what we need. So now let's try to bring those questions back up again, which were: how many cars were sold in each state? How many cars were Teslas? And how many Teslas were Model X? So let's copy paste those questions in a new sheet right here. And then the way you would open a new sheet is, if you see the plus sign here, if you just click on that, you can open a new sheet. Pretty similar to what you see with Excel. So now let's try to solve the same thing, but let's see where pivot tables are, or how to create pivot tables in Google Sheets. So let's look for insert. You should see a pivot table. So if you click on insert tab at the top of the video, the sheet, you see pivot table option show up. So click on that, and then it's going to ask the same questions, which is: what is the range of the data set, which is, I want to start from A1, which is the VIN number, to the end of the file, which has 130,000 rows in it. And I want you to create a new sheet with this so I can do my analysis. You can also use an existing sheet if you don't want to go back and forth by just picking a cell, and then it will create a pivot table for you here. But let's just use this one for now. If you create, it should give you similar options like we see with Excel. So as you can see, you have all the columns that are in your data set. So let's go back to our questions and try to answer the first one, which was how many cars were sold in each state. So let's go back to the pivot table. If you click, and if you don't see those options here, there's a pencil sign at the bottom of the tables. If you click edit, this table should pop right back up again. So if you then click on state, actually, interesting. All right, so if you click on state and just drag it and put it in rows, it'll take a minute, but it will give you all the states that are available, and it's starting to look a lot like how we want to display the data. So you have rows, and then let's do the same thing. Let's count the number of VINs as values. And now you can see you have number of cars by state, which is basically what you were looking for in your first. The next one that we want to look for is how many Teslas there are by each state. So let's go back to the pivot table here. What you can do now is you can copy this pivot table and then paste it right here. And then you can add filters just like you did in the previous example in Excel. But this time we're looking for the make of the model, and we're looking for a Tesla right here. So let's scroll down. So as you can see, there are a bunch of options here. And if you want to say that you only want Tesla, so there's one option that you want to pick. One way to do that is just clear all your selections. Either you can type Tesla and click OK. And that should give you the number 59,485. What happened here is we've accidentally changed this one. We've added the filter for this one instead of this. So let's go back and fix it. So click on edit. If you want to remove the filter for this one, just click on edit, go back to filters here and exclude. And then it should give you the original data set. If you want to edit a specific pivot table, then you got to click back in again, click the pencil function here. If it's grayed out, that means that your pivot table options are actually editing the one that you're looking at right now. So if you put the make here, let's follow the same steps. Clear all your options, type in Tesla, hit enter, hit OK. And that looks like it worked. So you have 59,485 Teslas. Let's compare this with what we've had before in the Excel version of this one, which was 59,485, 59,485. Right, that's great. So the last question that we have here is how many Teslas sold were Model X's. So to do that, let's copy the pivot table, paste it again, and this time, once it's done running, add another filter. So let's make sure we're editing this pivot table. Let's add the model here. So get all the options. Let's hit clear. You can also scroll down and find Model X. Hit OK. And that's the 4,785 Model X's. So hope that was helpful. The next videos, we're going to talk about how we can solve the same problem in Python, in R, and in SQL. The idea is that using this exercise, I can show you the breadth of tools that data analysts use in their day-to-day to solve real-world problems. See you in the next video.